I've complained for 6 years about the roof leaking. I've got 2 bedrooms with 7 of us in. And it's about time something was done about it. I've done 6 years in the forces. I've been to you in 1955 when I lived in one room in Mason Street. I've been on the housing list for God knows how long, and nothing's done, and it's a bloody disgrace, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm for conquering heroes. There's nothing for the British. I said, yeah, everyone's entitled to a decent home. But I reckon the British are being bloody well pushed behind. It's about time.
For that woman, for every tenant, it's not just a question of an overcrowded flat, a leaking roof. It's a question of rights between ordinary people and the authorities, between the tenant and the landlord.
I wish our friend had added the other point that she told me, which is what the sanitary inspector, the health inspector is now called, had to say. And then I'll repeat it if you don't mind, what you said, that he said to you outside the door there. You see there's a notice up on the walls which says that there's a management order being applied against this landlord. Been up for months now, hasn't it, eh? So when the health inspector comes down, he says, well, you can't expect the landlord to spend much money on this place when he's only got a couple of years here, can you? Well, a couple of years of the misery for our tenants, yes, we can expect it. The council is supposed to take it to court.
The tenants, nearly half of us, 25 million people living in homes that are not and never will be their own. In this, the first part of a man-alive inquiry into the vexed relationship between landlord and tenant, we see the problem through the eyes of the tenants themselves. The tenants, faced with a chronic shortage of rented accommodation, rarely able to choose where they live, still, despite whatever new legislation is introduced, in their own eyes at least, the victims of the landlords. A majority are still obliged to rent their homes from private landlords on a seller's market, where the laws of supply and demand take precedence over any rights the tenants may feel they have. Others have been patient or lucky enough to be rehoused by the hard-pressed local authorities. But all of them, rich or poor, council or private, have this in common: they pay rent. For most tenants, this is the only contact they have with the landlord. The rich pay by banker's order and pick up the phone if something goes wrong. The not-so-rich may have to wait till the agent comes round before they get the chance to complain.
No, why do I still have to drop you a line when I'm talking to you now?
Because then
Because this to me seems absolutely ridiculous, because a letter can be torn up as much as a memory can forget.
That's not true. You keep a copy of the letter, right? And if you want to, for a little added extra expense, you can send it to us by recorded delivery. Only costs a couple of pennies extra. And here you'll have proper confirmation that you've sent something to us and we haven't taken any notice of it. But I assure you that if you do write to us and let us know the list of complaints, we'll have them attended to straight away.
Well, I'll tell you some of the list of complaints now, shall I? Just while we're standing talking, yes, let's get some of it over with. My windows rattle like blazes. You can see daylight through them. The windowsills are completely useless. In fact, I can't get a window cleaner to clean my windows because the windowsill gave away twice under him. Just a moment.
If we're not aware of it.
Just a moment.
Tell us about it. Look,
the windowsills have given way twice. The man's been in hospital twice over the windowsills giving way under him. Also,
but this is the first I've
the
heard
window
of this.
it's still broken. Also, 2-bedroom windows are broken since I was in hospital in February.
In this street, the landlords are the giant Greater London Council. The houses are what's called Part 3 accommodation, temporary shelter for the homeless. Mr. and Mrs. Pitchley and the 12 out of their 14 children who've survived have lived here for 6 years.
See this room here with all the tiles missing, wants repairing, and all the dampness on the ceilings here. Wallpaper, you can't keep it up on the walls. As fast as they do it, they bring it down. It falls down again with the damp. We've got a rat's hole here. We've had rats. And through here, you see where they've been putting hardboard up on there, but they haven't made a very good job of it. And there's all this dampness on this wall here. As soon as you touch it, it all crumbles off, you see? You can't paint it or wash it or anything. And the sink, and all this brickwork under here. There's no hot water. There's no convenience at all out here for washing up or anything. You have to put the kettles on all the time to get hot water. You see, the floors, we have tins down here to cover holes up where the floors are not levelled. And these beams up here, they won't last much longer. There's dry rot. It's all crumbling away up there.
Do you feel the council have been fair with you?
No. No.
In what ways have they been unfair?
Well, can I say, this place, I mean, wants all these repairs done here, and you keep going up there and complaining about what you want done, and all they say is, well, there's people that's worse off than you, and they'll send somebody to do it when it's convenient, as they're very short of men, and in the finish, nothing gets done at all. See, it's just forgotten.
What do you think the council ought to do?
Well, I think they should try and get you a better place when you've got a big family with a bathroom. I mean, a bathroom is essential when you've got a big family.
That's the thing that really bothers you most,
yes.
is it?
And also, I do want an extra bedroom because I've got a boy of 18 sleeping in with 5 of the little children, you know, 3 are girls and the rest are boys.
Why do you have to do that? Have you just not
I
been
haven't got the room. See?
What happens when you complain to the council? Are they at all helpful?
No, they're not. Well, there's a girl that's in the office. She's very abrupt. You know, she says, well, there's no men available and there's nothing we can do about it.
Do you think that the authorities owe you a place to live? Do you think they ought to find you a place to live?
Yes, I do. Yes.
You don't think that it's up to you to go out and find somewhere privately and pay more rent for it in order to find somewhere better to live?
Well, if I had the money, that's what I would do, but of course I couldn't afford to go out privately and pay more rent. No, I just couldn't.
There are others who could afford to pay a private landlord but prefer not to. The penthouse flats of this imposing glass house, where Mr. and Mrs. Richards live, are let by the local council at £5 a week. Mr. Richards is a lecturer at a London college. He's a communist, a great champion of social justice. He's also quite well off.
Well, I don't know if that is so. It sounds reasonably good. I'm in the 2,000 a year class. But of course one's got to think very carefully and in terms of money in relation to the degree of inflation that there is.
Does it worry you at all, nonetheless, that there are people who are considerably worse off than you are, who are having to pay a great deal more in rent?
It worries me considerably, and I do my little bit as far as I can to try and bring about a change in the system. But I feel that the problem will only be solved when it is tackled nationally and on a broad front. I don't feel that myself making any individual sacrifice at all will help or change the situation one iota.
Nevertheless, if you were to make the sacrifice of giving up this flat, it is possible, is it not, that a more needy family could be moved in here?
That may be so, but then there, as I've said, there are some 5,000 families on the housing list, and the whole problem has got to be tackled, as the late Nyron Bevan said, as a military operation. The whole question of housing has got to be tackled on this broad front. And so far, this government has shown itself more interested in military actions rather than in tackling housing as a military affair.
Nevertheless, these things do boil down to individual responsibility. I mean, if everyone's justification for his own situation is to say, well, the rest of the world must change, you could make your small contribution.
But at what cost to myself? As I've said, if I go and buy a house locally, I would have to pay something in the region of £7,000 for it. This is the price in which a friend of mine has recently sold his house to go and live near the coast. £7,250 he has obtained for his house, which he himself bought for £2,500 in 1953. The house, when it was built, or rather when it was sold originally, cost in the region of £1,000 or even less. So therefore, if I give up the tenancy of this flat, I've then got to take on this enormous burden of very high interest rates, a very high mortgage rate, and I myself would, far from being in a comfortable position, I would be in an extremely uncomfortable position, so much so that I would definitely have to share the premises and in fact become a landlord myself. And this is something that I have no ambition to become. I have no desire to perpetuate a system of private landlordism with which I disagree. And if I give up the tenancy of this flat, this is exactly what I will be doing.
For those untroubled by social conscience, the private landlord offers an alternative. This is Kensington, and one of the newest blocks of flats. For Mr. Rendell, it's a comfortable retreat from the harrowing bustle of his country home and a convenient office at a reasonable rent.
The rent is £16.50 per year, and on top of that there are the rates, and I reckon that it's going to cost about £2,000 a year to live here.
Now, for that sum of money, it would in fact be possible to buy a flat on a mortgage in London, would it not?
Yes, it would. On the other hand, it wouldn't be possible to buy a flat like this. They would run at about £15,000. That means raising quite a lot of capital straight away. If you buy a flat in a converted block, then you don't have the facilities which are laid on here, such as central heating and hot water and porters and so on. And I came to the conclusion that it would be a lot easier to be in a big block with those services laid on and not have to worry about maintaining the outside of the building, problem of keeping it burglar proof, looking after the common staircases and so on. All that is done here without my having to think about it at all, and this is a big advantage for me.
So is it freedom from anxiety, the anxiety of ownership, that influences
Yes,
it?
I think this is true. I own a house, and have owned a house for many years in the country. It's not exactly anxiety, but there's a great deal to do to it. You're always concerned with the state of the property and things that affect its value and so on happening, and whilst it hasn't given me much anxiety, it's definitely something you have to think about. And I think that it would be more difficult, even than owning a house in the country, to own a property in London.
How do you feel about the flat as opposed to your home in the country? Do you have a different set of feelings about it?
Yes, the main thing I feel about it is that it's here. It's not going to be blown down by a gale or flooded by a storm or anything like that. I don't have to paint the outside of it or do the garden or spend a lot of time finding labour to look after it. It's more or less secure, and it's always here. I can go away for as long as I like and nothing will happen to it. This is a great relief to feel like that, so that it's like coming home to a sort of a place which is well, it's not exactly home, but it's sure to be there. I know when I come home after a holiday to my house in the country, there's always a small doubt in my mind whether it hasn't burnt down or been flooded out or burgled or something, which I don't feel at all about this place.
But do you mind the feeling of £1,650 a year going into somebody else's pocket?
No, not that way round. I mean, good luck to them if they can get it. I don't much like having to fork £1,650 a year out of my own pocket, of course. But I regard it as almost a business investment. in this particular case.
As a business investment, rented accommodation cuts both ways. This back garden is the property of a lady who bought 30 old houses on mortgage, crammed them with tenants, and now exacts the maximum in rent. The tenants, mostly immigrants and old-age pensioners, have little chance of a council house and nowhere else to go. If they're slow to pay, the landlord cuts off the gas and electric light or arranges unpleasant incidents. If they make trouble, she ignores the law and evicts them. A few weeks ago, the man living in this basement flat was told to get out. He denied the landlord's right to evict him and refused to go. The same evening, the landlord herself came round with 2 hired thugs. There was a struggle, but the tenant lost. In theory, he could sue the landlord. Meanwhile, he has to find somewhere else to live. An elderly lady in the same house was afraid to face the camera in case she might be recognized and beaten up, but she did dare to go to the authorities.
I have complained to the public health. The inspector of the public health does his job, he comes and looks at it. And he says that he will try to get something done. But you see, this goes on and on and on, and as you see, it's quite apparent there's nothing done.
What else have you tried to do?
I realised this rent was quite too much, and as the 1965 Rent Act was in operation, I went to the Rent Tribunal. I filled in my form and waited for them to act. But 14 days later, somebody must have seen that my light was off in my room. They went into the backyard, knowing the light was off, that I would be out, and they came and pushed a notice to quit under my door, backdated 14 days before I went to the Rent Tribunal.
So what happened when you went to the tribunal?
We went on our case, and I was represented by the Tenants Association Lady Barrister. And that morning there were 6 other tenants of the same landlady. All our rents were reduced. With mine, the chairman of the Rent Tribunal said to the landlady, you know that you are a slum landlady, and it is you who has converted them into slums. You charge cruel rents. He asked her, as this was a furnished apartment, did I receive clean linen and a change of laundry, and of course she told all untruths. Actually, there's never any laundry done. Very little, only an old torn horse blanket given to you to buy your own linen. He asked her about the windows and the care of the public passages in the backyard, and of course she told untruths, and as there were 6 of her tenants there that morning, it was 6 of us with the truth against her with her untruths, and the chairman quite believed us. My rent was reduced from £3 down to £1.15.
Not all landlords are ogres, but few are as gracious as Miss Lloyd Baker, who's celebrating her 50th anniversary as hereditary landlord to her London estate. Like the lady of some medieval manor, she receives as her guests a delegation of loyal, forelock-tugging tenants. The waiting list for a house on the Lloyd Baker estate is so long and so select that no more applicants can be considered. Not surprising when the rent for a 7-room house can be as little as £3 a week. The tenants, naturally, are grateful.
It's the most historic day for us, and it's adding a page to our Finsbury story, I think. So on your behalf, I'm very pleased to give Miss Lloyd Baker the book in token of our affection and regard.
It is a very great pleasure to me to see so many members and friends of the estate gathered together on this occasion, and I do bid you all most heartily welcome. You do me great honour in coming to keep my jubilee in this way. It is really, I think, a historic occasion, because I don't suppose there are many owners who manage to achieve their 50th year of ownership. But you must remember that I began very young. Long before I could know anything about it, when I was only 13, when my father was killed in action in the First World War. I think it must be the feeling that 50 years is a long time, and that probably it indicates an immense age that has given rise to the rumor that has been going round that I, in some way, intend to retire or to resign, or to give up my interests, or to withdraw in some way from the scene. I want to tell you all most emphatically that there is not the slightest truth in that suggestion. But what I have done, and I think this may be what lies at the back of this rumor, I have transferred the legal ownership of most of the estate to the trustees of my successor. I have done that for one reason only, for the good of the property and in the interests of you all. For if I had kept the legal ownership all my life, it would have meant that when I die, the government would have demanded so large a sum in death duty tax that the whole of the estate would have to have been broken up and sold in order to find the money. Now, by taking the step I have done the best I can in this uncertain world to ensure that our community, our village, shall hold together as one unit for at least another generation, and that, I hope, is what you will all wish.
The wishes of the tenants are not usually the landlord's first consideration. Perhaps landlords get the tenants they deserve.
That goes for Pat as well, and put them into another flat. Mainly 23 was mentioned in Devonshire. What's that? Number 23 in Devonshire has been let.
Well, we've had other circumstances arose and we had to re-let 23.
Yeah, but what circumstance? Now, be honest,
Look,
who's gone in 20?
you.
No, who's gone in 23?
Look, I can't tell you
Who's
the
gone
whole
in
business
23?
of the office.
Well, you can tell me who's gone in 23.
No, you want to come up to the office and
No,
run the
I
office
want to
for
know
me,
who's
you
gone
can
in
do so.
23.
Somebody who's grossly overcrowded.
Who?
A gentleman living in these flats,
Yeah.
but grossly overcrowded.
Where's he come from?
Look,
no, what
this has got nothing
number?
to do
Yes, it
with
has
you.
got a lot to do because Pat and Mrs. Charles was having that flat. You was literally promised that flat for young Pat and Mrs. Charles.
Well, I certainly, this is the first
Yeah,
I've
no,
heard
this
that it's
isn't.
been
No, it
promised.
isn't the first because when you come back from the rent tribunal, when Mrs. Charles got her rent cut down from £2.7 and 6, whatever it was, to £1 odd, you come down 10 minutes after they come out the rent tribunal, the pair of you, and you promised her the earth. You promised to get her up in 20... Yeah, the pair of you.
No, I don't.
Go and get Rosie Charles, Nina, while I'm talking here.
Rosie Hearn has a history of battles with the authorities. Unlike many tenants, she complains, and complains hard. She's been to the sanitary department about the dustbins, and she's been to the rent officer to get her rent reduced. She's indignant at having to bath her 4 daughters in a tub in the kitchen for lack of a proper bathroom. In a country where the landlord and tenant are still at loggerheads and authorities are often clogged with bureaucracy, does she feel that anyone really cares?
No, definitely not. If they cared enough about the conditions they actually live in, take example, would Mr. Crossman come and live here himself? Because he can have my flat willingly and I'll take his flat over any day of the week. Can definitely have mine. No strings attached to it either. I'll even redecorate it for him. He's the housing man. Let him come and live here with no bathroom. See if he likes it. Especially in the winter when we've got no water in the toilet. That goes wrong for about 6 weeks at a time. And all we're doing then is buckets and bowls of water from the kitchen down to the toilet. When you've got 4 children, you just can't have this. I mean, you can get anything from the toilet. They're telling you to keep the children clean, hygienic, and God knows what else, but they don't give you no facilities to do this. You ask for the workmen and all you hear is, oh, the workmen are somewhere else. They're coming to you next week, and that's how it goes on all the time here. It's murder waiting for the workmen. I waited here for 4 months to get my sash cords done, and I had them boarded up, literally boarded up in the bedroom. That was in the children's bedroom. And I went to the town hall, I went to the public health department, and I made a right old stink about it, and at the finish I did. I finally got a new window and sash cord. They put it in, I shut the window, and without, well, I never, the workman shut the window and the bloody lot fell out the front, and that's the truth, window and all, mate. It's actually workman for you in here.
Have you ever had the public health authorities round here?
Yes, we've had the public health authorities with loads of the neighbours going up about this, about the dustbins in particular, the smell. There's 81 tenants and there's about 22 dustbins, and it's absolutely stinking over the weekend when they've left it there. By Monday you've got flies, cats, everything down there. And at one particular time there was a load of rats here. That was out the back as well. And well, one person got the public health down, like, and I was going downstairs, I had the little girl, she was a baby then, and there was one in the pram, it was in the passage. So I threw a pillar over it, you know, I didn't know really what it was at the time. All I see was something running in there, and I threw a pillar at it, and I flew with me dress up in here out the street looking for this public health woman. Anyway, this little old woman come out of the middle block. She'd been down looking at the dustbins where these rats are. So I'm shouting out, there's a rat in me pram, can you come and help me? Oh, she said, don't be silly, it can't be a rat. She said, you've got no rats here. So I said, well, lady, I said, there's something there that's got 4 legs and a tail on it. Will you come and see what it is? So up she comes, so she pulls off the blanket. So she, there's nothing there at all. She says, you're imagining it. So I'm telling you, it's under the pillar. So she's pulled the pillar away. It was there. It's run right the way around the pram, took one jump, and it's galloped down the stairs like a racehorse. Mind you, it's about that big. She comes out with, oh, my dear, that's a pregnant mouse, that ain't a rat. I said, but it's too big to be a mouse. I said, I've seen mice. My mum, we had them as lodgers in our house, in the old house, like, you know. We got on well with the mice. We used to feed them in the old place. I said, they're not mice, it's a rat. So she turned around and she said, no, I don't think so, but about 3 people had seen this thing. Anyway, they all said it was a rat. Anyway, she came round the following day to see how I was. It freaked the life out of me that much. I nearly passed out the stairs. And she came around the next day, so she said, it was a rat, you know. She said, but I couldn't let you cause a panic, she said, because of the other tenants. No matter about me, I could have just conked out there overseeing it, sort of thing. But they put some stuff down in all the, well, downstairs and that. But they're still not cleared them. I mean, they're still in the park. They come out the parks and they come down at the bins every time. Especially in the summer. I mean, it's worse in the summer than it is in the winter. It's not so bad in the winter, but in the summer you're absolutely run alive here with blue bottles. You've got them everywhere, in the kitchens. I mean, they come up from the wells, and the smell from the wells is absolutely disgusting as well. Don't matter how much Domestos, Pine, the lot you put down there, you've still got it coming up.
What do you think should be done about a place like this?
Condemn the lot. Let the council take the lot over and condemn them, because they've got some flats they've took over at Tower Bridge and they're 10 times better than these. And yet the council have brought them.